When I made this tutorial, I forgot to put my microphone on. So I have a lovely tutorial, but with no noise, or at least not the first part. So my hands probably don't move the same direction as I'm talking, but I'll tell you more or less the same thing. Because most of us usually have a fear of a blank page, and it's really hard to get over it, and it's really hard to start then. So today I'm going to do an exercise that will show you what to do with a fear of a blank page. But first I'm going to cover up this other page because it's going to be a mess. And fear of a blank page, it's easiest to get over it when I put something on the page, and that will be my starting point. Well, today I'm using a brush and I'm using Ecoline. I'm using black because that was just something I had lying around, was still in the cup, but you can use any color. Probably color would be lovely for this exercise, but today I'm using black. But I don't want to have the mess like dripping all over the page, like I'm showing here. So that's why I decided to put a clamp on it so the page would lie flat. Yes, and then the mess making can start. Like I told you before, I'm using Ecoline. I'm going to make splatters with Ecoline, but you can also use like a watercolor or any liquid paint for this. You can use acrylic inks. You can even use acrylic paint, but then you have to make it more liquidy because otherwise it won't splatter that well. So I'm just showing you with Ecoline, and so you understand what I'm doing, so you can figure out or experiment yourself what fits for you. Wow, now I'm apparently telling something really important because my hands are moving. Yes, I'm going to tap my brush, and you see the splatters coming, and that's going to be my starting point. I didn't place them in a specific order. I didn't make any composition. This is my starting point. And they're really like small dots. If you want to have like larger splatter, you can use paint that's less liquidy. But then, yeah, you could like get weird shapes as well, and sometimes won't splatter at all. So, like I said before, I like the liquid paints for this. But since it's still wet, I cannot work from this, so I have to dry it, and I can like air dry it, but that takes a long time. I can also use like a heat gun. That's the best option here, but I don't have it lying around or not anywhere close. So I'm going to use a hair dryer. The one thing with a hair dryer is if you put it on full speed, if you're like as impatient as I am, your blobs are just going to fade out, and that's not what we want for this exercise. So I'm going to like put it like really warm, but the speed's going to be really low, so it's not as quick as a heat gun, but it's a lot quicker than air drying it. And I'm going to make it dry. I'm not doing that on camera because, well, a little bit, you can see it here, but I'm not going to like put any sound on here because when I do, you get deaf probably. So I'm going to speed this up and get right back to you. I think it's all dried up right now, so well, let's start, because now I don't have a blank page, so the fear should be gone. It's still a bit of fear, but we'll manage it. I have like loads of fine liners. Most of them are black. I have a gray one as well. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start making flowers out of these dots. So I'll just start with the middle one. This should take the fear away, because it's not only doodling, it's also really mindful, because I'm just going to make the same shapes over and over. And since I'm not doing my best to like make them even, all the petals, because no petal is the same. I mean, no flower is the same. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to be careful about it. I don't have to be really precise. I just pick out random, that's the one that's calling to me, make flowers of them. And I'm using the same brand like the Eco line. I'm using the Pick 'em Out Micron. They're both Royal Talents. Even though I'm an ambassador for them, was not really an idea I had for this video. I'm just not making even this for them. It's just for me, for you actually. But I like both of these products, so I use them in my own time as well. And I can decide to pick like all the dots on here, but it probably will get really cramped. And I don't have to. I'll just pick the ones I want to pick, and I can like change the size as well of the flowers. I don't have to make them all the same size. The movement is still the same. You see, flowers don't grow in a field like in the right order. Not even when you like plant them in your garden. Maybe they're in a row, but for some reason they won't never stick to the row that you put them in. That's what I like about them. They have like their organic way of growing, being. Yeah. So that's what we're going to adapt here. I'm going to make a large one because this dot is large. And I don't even mind overlapping the other flowers. That's what they do as well. Oh, you know, a small one again. And you see, this is a fairly simple exercise to do. But this is when you're like totally not inspired. You have no clue what you want to make, but you know you need that bit of creativity in your life. This is a fun exercise to do when you're like scared of the blank page, because it will give you, well, not really a blank page anymore. So it will give you a starting point. It's easier to start. And it's really mindful. Well, not mindful when I'm talking to you, probably not at all when I'm in your ear, but making those repetitive movements and just not overthinking where you place the flowers, just go to a dot that calls to you, makes really mindful. It gives your mind some peace, and when it gets some peace and it's relaxed, it gets more space, so you can like think of other projects, so you can really do this in between different jobs or tasks. But you can also do it when you're like your head is full from a work week and you just need a break, or you just need some inspiration for next time. And over here my flower is too big, so I'll just let it go off the side. I think it makes it more interesting. And yeah, I thought of like making large flowers of these, but I think they're just, I just see them as extra flowers, just not really the flowers I'm making, just blobs that grow there as well when you just look into the field. But when you're doing this mindfully and all of a sudden you find that you get more room to experiment, more room to be creative, you don't have to stick to this exercise. Please do, please make it different, make it more loud, make other flowers, or make an executive decision like, it's like blank here. Do I want to keep it blank, or do I want to add another flower? This is your page. This is your sketchbook. No one tells you how to fill it. So if you need a bit of, yeah, your decision time, take charge. Make this your page. Make it any way you want to. Add things. If you want to add a ladybug, feel free, do so. But all the time I'm thinking like I'm stopping, it's enough. But then I see another drop, I'm like, yeah, well, I can add another one. This is addictive. I'm even thinking about the amount of petals that a flower should have. Well, I hope this inspired you to get creative, put your fear of a blank page aside, and start creating. Start your sketchbook habit. Have fun and have a peace of mind at the same time. I'm really curious what you made, so feel free to tag me on Instagram or send me a message. I'd love to see how you're doing and if this exercise really helped you. So, have fun today. Bye bye.